For many years, locals and travellers alike have reported tales of a huge ape-like creature living in the snowy wilderness in Nepal. So, from historical sightings to searches for this mysterious creature, here are 5 things you need to know about the Yeti, aka the Abominable Snowman. Sit back and enjoy. Yeti description. The Yeti and the Abominable Snowman are one and the same thing, not to be confused with the Sasquatch, which is an entirely different entity. The Yeti is said to be an ape-like creature, described as taller than the average human, muscular and covered in light-coloured thick fur, although there are variations on this, with some convinced its fur is much darker, possibly grey or even reddish, and it's been likened more to a bear than an ape. There are also disparities in its stance, with some reports of a tall upright beast, while others are convinced it is smaller and walks on all fours, and only stands when threatened or fearful. Although one thing most are agreed on is its territory. It resides in the Himalayan regions of Nepal, Bhutan and Tibet, and has been part of the culture of the indigenous people of that region for centuries. However, it wasn't until the 19th century that stories of the Yeti first emerged worldwide, and became a fascination in popular culture, and in turn entered the realms of modern mythological creatures and monsters. It was this fascination that gave the Yeti its alternative name, the Abominable Snowman, when in 1921, journalist Henry Newman interviewed members of the British Mount Everest reconnaissance expedition, who claimed to have encountered large footprints that their guides called Meto Kanjmi. Translated, this means man bears snowman. However, Newman mistakenly thought it meant filthy snowman, so he changed it to abominable snowman, and the term stuck. Generally, scientists regard the Yeti as a legend, but until there is conclusive proof it doesn't exist, then there is a chance that all these rumours and reports you'll hear about are true. Science. The Yeti is one of the world's most popular cryptids, up there with Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster, and scientists and conspiracy theorists have long debated its existence. Over the years, unexplained footprints, elongated bones, and strange tufts of hair all seem to indicate that an undiscovered species was living in the Himalayan wilderness. However, in 2017, reports emerged claiming that the Yeti was just a bear. With the help of modern science, scientists tested samples from museums and private collections that purported to be remains of Yetis. A scrap of skin, said to be from the paw of a Yeti, proved to be an Asian black bear, and a femur bone found in a cave in Tibet belonged to a Tibetan brown bear. They also tested various Yeti hair, teeth, bone, and fecal matter samples, all of which belonged to either Asian black bears, Himalayan or Tibetan brown bears. In fact, every so-called Yeti sample they tested proved to originate from a species known to science. But if you're a believer, then don't lose hope. There's plenty more from the opposite side that points to it being real. Encounters with a Yeti. Despite hundreds of expeditions into the remote mountainous regions of the Himalayas, the existence of the Yeti remains unproven. However, there have been a few unexplained sightings and footprints over the years, so let's take a look at the more convincing ones. The first public report of a Yeti sighting came in 1925, when Greek photographer N.A. Tombazi claimed to have witnessed a Yeti at 15,000 feet in the Himalayas. In a statement, Tombazi described what he saw. Unquestionably, the figure in outline was exactly like a human being, walking upright and stopping occasionally to uproot or pull at some bushes. It showed up dark against the snow, and as far as I could make out, wore no clothes. The sightings caused quite a stir, although Tombazi himself did not believe that he had seen a Yeti. Instead, he thought the figure he observed was a travelling hermit. During the Second World War, a Polish soldier claimed he escaped from a Siberian gulag and travelled through the Gobi Desert, Tibet and the Himalayas to get to British India. In a debated account of his journey that featured in his ghost-written book, The Long Walk, he claims that as he was walking across the Himalayas, his path was blocked by 2 Yetis. In 1951, a respected British explorer called Eric Shipton was looking for an alternative route up Mount Everest, when he stumbled across a large footprint that appeared to be hominoid. He took photos of the print, placing a pickaxe next to it for comparison. The pictures caused a sensation and renewed the public interest in the existence of the Yeti. Now this last one, I'll let you draw your own conclusion. It surfaced in 2016 and went viral online. The large shaggy white figure, walking upright, was allegedly spotted roaming the slopes of a ski resort in northeastern Spain. Remarkably, there was some debate about what the creature could be, with some suggesting it was a polar bear, while others were convinced it was a real Yeti. On the other hand, it could just be a complete hoax. What do you think? History of the Yeti. Although the name, Abominable Snowman, is a modern term, the Yeti has been around for centuries, and its origins can be traced back to pre-Buddhist Eastern civilizations. In particular, those who lived in the Himalayan mountain region, and in some communities, the Yeti was a revered glacier being, known as the god of the hunt. In 326 BC, it's alleged that Alexander the Great demanded to see a Yeti when he conquered the Indus Valley in the northwestern regions of South Asia. However, the locals told him it was not possible because the creature could not survive at that low an altitude. Although in most ancient accounts, the Yeti is a figure of danger, and like most legends, terrifying encounters were told of an ape-like creature that carried a large stone as a weapon and made a whistling swoosh sound. Often these tales were recounted around campfires and to warn children of the dangers of wandering off on their own. So from a young age, people who lived in the mountainous areas of the Himalayas had been brought up to believe in the hidden dangers of this ape-like creature that supposedly inhabited their region. Consequently, when Western mountaineers started to travel to the Himalayas in the 19th century, the myth evolved further and further, and the Yeti was portrayed as a terrifying bipedal hybrid that should be avoided. At local Buddhist monasteries, the Yeti is worshipped and believed in, although they think that you cannot always see it. And at Kumjung monasteries, there is a supposed Yeti scalp kept in a special box, although the monks are very reluctant about showing it to outsiders. Truth or myth? Looking at all the evidence, how likely is it that the Yeti does actually exist? Could it just be a myth that has been exaggerated over the years? Or is there really a bipedal, half-man, half-bear, or white ape living quietly in the freezing wilderness of the Himalayas? After all, every legend and story has to come from somewhere, and the Yeti is not a modern phenomenon, being one of the most enduring monster mysteries of all. While many Yeti sightings have been debunked, there is still some unexplained physical evidence that may support its existence, such as unfamiliar tracks, hairs, tree damage, and other unidentified remains. The existence of the Yeti has baffled historians and explorers for decades, and with the belief that there are a lot of creatures that are still undiscovered, who's to say the Yeti is not one of them? Maybe some kind of hybrid bear or ape species. With modern science now able to extract DNA from even the oldest remains, if this creature does exist, then eventually it will be found. And there certainly is no shortage of cryptid enthusiasts who are fascinated by the subject and who are keen to continue searching. The question is, do you think the Yeti, the big white ape-like creature, is residing in the snowy wilderness? So that's 5 things you need to know about the Yeti. We are ending this mythical creatures series here. We were going to do a video on giants, but are working on something else towards that instead. I hope you've enjoyed, and don't forget to head over to the Top 5's Patreon page. The serial killer documentaries are uploaded early there, before they are available on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.